Greetings everyone, my name is Dominic and today you're tuning in to the Comic Book Report, where we review comic books and graphic novels so you can get an idea of what to read. And today I've prepared an unboxing video for all of you. We're going to be taking a look at the newly released Dark Web Omnibus from Marvel Comics. And I will admit, this is one I have been particularly excited for. I should admit I've heard a couple mixed reviews about this story arc, but again, I've been just awaiting this book so I can't wait to dive in. To that end, let's go ahead and get unboxing. Okay, for this purchase, I did mix it up a little bit. This order came by way of cheapgraphicnovels.com, so let's go ahead and start breaking into it. Again, I am really excited for this one, and I think that largely stems from the fact that this is a modern comic event based around Spider-Man, X-Men, and I think a little bit Venom. And these are some of my favorite Marvel franchises. And in the last couple years, I've really enjoyed reading some of the stories with some of the very characters showcased in this omnibus, so I think that has really built the anticipation up for me in the recent months and even year or two. Okay, and as I unwrap the omnibus itself and begin to stretch out that spine, let's go ahead and talk about what this omnibus collects. In this omnibus, we have Dark Web Issue 1. Amazing Spider-Man, the 2022 series, issues 14 through 18. Venom, the 2021 series, issues 13 through 16. Dark Web X-Men, issues 1 through 3. Dark Web Miss Marvel, issues 1 and 2. Dark Web Finale, issue 1. Mary Jane and Black Cat, the 2022 series, issues 1 through 5. Golden Goblin, issues 1 through 5. Hallows Eve, issues 1 through 5. Hallows Eve, The Big Night, and material from the Amazing Spider-Man Annual 2023, issue 1, and Free Comic Book Day 2022, Spider-Man Venom. Yeah, this omnibus is pretty packed out. I am particularly excited that we have some of the miniseries like Mary Jane and Black Cat from Jed MacKay. Gold Goblin is another series I always wanted to check out. I had no idea it was linked to Dark Web. Hallows Eve I'm curious about, and then obviously just the main issues. But yeah, we have a lot of creative talent on this as well. Just a few I'll name off: Zeb Wells, Al Ewing, Ram V, Gary Duggan, Sabir Prezada, Jed MacKay, Christopher Cantwell, Erica Schultz, and many more. Definitely a great collaborative effort on this one. Okay, I think that's enough stretching for this spine. Let's go ahead and examine the book. Okay, and here's a dedicated look at the front of this omnibus. I should say right now that this is the direct market cover, which is courtesy of Ryan Stegman. It is kind of a wraparound cover, as you'll see in a moment. I'll go ahead and throw up a thumbnail of the standard edition cover, which I believe is John Romita Jr. I thought both covers were absolutely striking, but when I saw this one from Stegman, I knew that this is the one I wanted to aim for. Transitioning to the spine, we have the Marvel Omnibus logo, of course, the stylized font for Dark Web, a little image of Chasm, and then just this really cool kind of greenish teal looking field or spider web behind it. I really like this design. It's crisp, it's interesting. I'm surprised they're not calling it like Spider-Man Dark Web or Spider-Man X-Men Dark Web, just Dark Web Omnibus. But yeah, really like the spine design. It's absolutely gorgeous. And then the back cover as well, we have a lot of other great images here. Like I said, it kind of makes a wraparound, which I'll show you when I take off the whole dust jacket in a moment. But I love the design work here. We also have a blurb about the book, what it collects. We have the age rating, which is T+, some pricing information, things like that. All pretty standard for the back of a dust jacket, but I love that this direct market cover really favors the art. I should know the standard edition cover will have a dust jacket with a different front cover, back cover, and I think image on the bottom of the spine. Now, as I mentioned, I do want to remove the dust jacket completely so you can examine it one more time. This time I'll also show you those interior flaps, which you haven't seen yet, and I'll go ahead and begin to spread out the dust jacket so you can see all of the art. As I mentioned, we do have this kind of connecting cover here between the front and the back of the omnibus, which I really do like. It is divided a little bit by the spine, but I still think it's really striking, and it still works for me absolutely as a wraparound. As we transition to the under the dust jacket art on board, we have this really cool image of Spider-Man on the front. Not really too much going on the spine because this is also a wraparound, but on the back of the hardback book, we have an image of Chasm. So when you spread out this actual hardback book, you have this really cool tense face-off between Spider-Man and Chasm, and I thought this was a brilliant art on board choice. It's lifted from one of the panels in this omnibus, and I love it. I think this omnibus was designed extremely well. The standard cover also looked great, but yeah, really like the direct market. Okay, and now for all you prospective collectors out there, a quick look at the binding, and I'll say I can't totally tell what kind of binding this is. I think it might be sewn. I should say, other than that brief stretch you just saw, I have not broken in this book by reading it yet, so I'm hoping to get a little more of an eye after I get through the reading. I will do a full review on this title when I complete the omnibus, so we'll kind of check back in on the binding, but so far it looks okay. And now you might be wondering, what are these other books? Well, this is really my way of saying I've invested myself in some of the modern history of some of the characters that are showcased in this very book. In Hellions, we were reintroduced to Madeline Pryor, the Goblin Queen. This was her first appearance I had seen in comics in a hot minute, and I really liked her as kind of a menacing villain that was trying to reform. I think after this point in Hellions, she did feature pretty prominently in a New Mutants run that took place toward the tail end of the Krakoa era. I haven't read that one myself. I understand there's some plot development there, but Goblin Queen was on my mind a bit after reading Hellions. And then Spider-Man Beyond. That omnibus I actually just finished really recently at the time of this recording. I have yet to do my full review, but if you are interested, I plan on doing that shortly on the channel, hopefully within the next couple weeks. But this really sets up kind of the origin of Chasm. We have a lot of players that are going to be in Dark Web in this Spider-Man omnibus, so I really can't wait to talk about it. And I finished it. Part of my motivation behind that was to get ready for Dark Web. As far as what prep work needs to be done before reading this omnibus, I again don't have a totally clear idea because I have yet to really actually read this for myself, and because of that I won't really go into many spoilers here in the sake of this video, other than what you might see on any given page here, but I'm trying to flip through kind of intentionally, avoiding things that are maybe big reveals. But again, I'm going in pretty blind to this actual story arc, so I can't wait to see what's in the pages for myself as I begin to read through it. But yeah, this omnibus, as you've just seen, has a title page, publication information page. We have this cool 2-page spread with the title Dark Web and all of the creators involved, all of the things collected. It's kind of a mapped table of contents based around what's actually included rather than a numbered table of contents. After that, we jump right into a free comic book day issue, and then we're off to the races. As far as the mapping of this book goes, I think that they kind of alternate here and there with some of the titles or issue numbers, rather than doing everything in perfect sequence. I think that there might be some exceptions to that, and even that I'm still kind of basing it on just flipping through. I'm going to have to read a little deeper myself to make sure I have a grasp on exactly how it's mapped. So if I'm wrong and you've already read through this material, please let me know in the comments, and I'll make sure I rectify that when I get to the review, like I said, hopefully once I finish this omnibus. But again, one of the reasons I wanted to do this unboxing was I wanted to hit it earlier after the time of the release, so people that are on the fence about picking up this book can see a little bit more about what it has to offer. And yeah, that's kind of why I'm here. I also thought it'd be good content for the channel this week, and again, it's one I'm just really excited to finally have in my collection, and I hope my enthusiasm stays that way as I actually make my way through the event. I should say as well, I know I read Spider-Man Beyond kind of to lead into this, but I know there are issues of the next run on Spider-Man by Zeb Wells that kind of bridge the gap even more between Spider-Man Beyond and the events of Dark Web. I have not read those issues. Hopefully it's not a huge deal breaker. Like I said, I am missing out on some continuity with these characters before the events of Dark Web. Like I said, with Hellions, I know that Goblin Queen went on to do things in New Mutants. I've yet to read that. Same thing with some of the Spider-Man characters. There are some issues from Zeb Wells I did not catch up on before this. Similarly, I haven't read any of Al Ewing's Venom run, which I think is part of this as well. I stopped right at the end of the Donny Cates Ryan Stegman run, which I also really loved. So I'm hoping this event can fill in the gaps for me of what I need to know. But again, I know a lot of the main players and characters in this omnibus from fairly recent reads, so I hope that's enough to kind of skate by. I believe that this is still within the Krakoa era for the X-Men as well, which I am excited about. I love this time in X-Men history. I know we are beyond that era now, but to see collected editions that still have issues from this point, it's just really exciting for me. I know another thing I touched on briefly earlier in this video, we do have that Black Cat and Mary Jane miniseries. This was not included in Jed MacKay's Black Cat omnibus, nor was I think the Black Cat Mary Jane issue in Spider-Man Beyond. I think to get those issues in on those oversized omnibus edition. You need this and the Beyond Omnibus, if I'm not mistaken. But I really did like the Jed MacKay Black Cat run once upon a time. I know a lot of people were talking about the fact that Jed MacKay wrote on this miniseries that tied into Dark Web, and it was not in the Black Cat Omnibus. So I am happy to continue on the journey of Jed MacKay's Black Cat with this miniseries here, and I hope it lives up to my anticipation, my hype, because again, I really did like that run. I know the Hallows Eve miniseries as well as the Gold Goblin miniseries, like I said earlier, they both are of particular interest to me. I don't know anything really about Hallows Eve's character other than what I've gathered from a few brief reviews, so I'm really excited to encounter that character and see what she's all about. And then Gold Goblin, I've always been fascinated by the Goblin characters in the Spider-Man mythos, and I think that wrinkle is one I'm definitely invested in just to see what is going on or what's their angle over here at Marvel. I had no idea until very recently that this was actually included in this omnibus, so I'm not sure how much that actually ties into Dark Web. I presume it does since it's in this omnibus, but I'm excited to read it. I actually almost picked up the paperback of Gold Goblin, and now I'm so happy I held off because it's already in this omnibus. Okay, and I really hope that begins to give you a better idea of what Dark Web Omnibus is all about. I wanted to do this video again to showcase what the build of the book was like, what it included, some of the creators, and then just flip through and give you an idea of what this omnibus looks like. To wrap up the video here, of course, I jumped forward to the extras. As you can see, it's a huge kind of variant cover art gallery, which I love to see. We do have some full-size covers here, but we have many more that are just these thumbnails where they stick maybe 4 covers to a page. It's not my preference, but it's still great to have them collected in a way that I can see and enjoy. There are a couple of other extras included at the back here, but that's really all we get for extras, but luckily it is several pages of this, so it is still a fun and kind of padded extras at the back. This is my first event omnibus in a minute, I think, so I am excited to jump right in and enjoy the ride. Let me know if you're picking up the Dark Web Omnibus, if you've read this event already. I would love to get some spoiler-free feedback in the comment section, or if you have other modern Marvel or DC event books that I might not have read yet that you could recommend, let me know. I'm pretty behind on events for the big 2, so I'd love to get some more recommendations because every so often I do like to read a good comic book event book. Anyway, like I said, this has been the Dark Web Omnibus. Thank you so much for watching this unboxing, and until next time, this has been the Comic Book Report. Please don't forget to leave your like, comment, and maybe check out another video on your way out. Thanks, bye.